It was a Friday night, one of those nights when the silence in the house felt almost too loud. I sat in the dark living room, my mind racing. Just a few days earlier, I discovered something that would change everything. A text message notification on my wife's phone. A message she clearly tried to hide. It wasn't the kind of thing you expect after 5 years of marriage. Sure, our relationship had its ups and downs, but I always thought we were solid. So when I saw the message from a name I didn't recognize, something deep inside me just knew. It was one of those gut feelings you can't ignore. I opened the message, and there it was, proof of an affair. They were planning a date night. My heart sank as I read the words, but I couldn't look away. I scrolled through the entire message history, seeing the emotional connection, the excitement, the flirty exchanges. It hurt more than I ever imagined. I felt like I was living in a world that was falling apart, but I knew one thing. I had to stay calm, at least until I had a plan. The next few days were torturous. I couldn't bring myself to confront her right away. Instead, I put on a performance, pretending everything was fine while I gathered the strength to face her. But inside, I was boiling with anger and betrayal. I kept thinking about all the memories we'd shared, and each one felt tainted. Finally, Friday night arrived, the night of their date. She told me she was going out with some friends and would be back late. I nodded, pretending to believe her story, even managing a forced smile. She kissed me goodbye, and it took everything in me not to pull away. As soon as the door closed behind her, I sprang into action. I set up the living room, dimmed the lights, and positioned myself on the couch with her favorite wine, a bottle she would recognize immediately. I wanted everything to look calm, almost calculated. I had no intention of yelling or getting emotional. I just wanted her to walk in and feel the weight of my disappointment and betrayal. Hours passed as I waited in silence, each tick of the clock echoing in the room. Then, around midnight, I heard her car pull into the driveway. My heart pounded. This was the moment of truth. The door opened slowly, and she stepped in, surprised to see me awake. Her eyes widened when she noticed the dim lighting and the wine on the table. I could tell she sensed something was wrong, but she tried to play it cool, offering a weak smile. "Hey, you're still up?" she said, sounding nervous. "Yeah, couldn't sleep," I replied calmly, locking eyes with her. She looked away, probably to avoid what she knew was coming. She took a step forward, but I stopped her. "How was your night?" I asked, watching her closely. "Oh, just a quiet night with the girls," she said, her voice a little too casual. I took a slow sip of wine, letting the silence linger. "With the girls, huh?" I said, letting my voice drop just enough for her to feel the tension. Her face changed, color draining as she realized I wasn't buying her story. She opened her mouth to speak, but I raised a hand. "Save it," I said, pulling out my phone. "I know where you were tonight, and I know who you were with." Her eyes widened with shock. Her hand went to her mouth, and for the first time, she looked genuinely scared. "Look," she stammered. I can explain." She tried to step closer, but I stood up, creating distance between us. "Explain?" I repeated, feeling the anger I had been holding in for days starting to overflow. "Explain how you've been sneaking around behind my back. Explain how you could lie to my face every single day." She was speechless, her eyes tearing up as she realized there was no way out. I could see her searching for words, anything to make it right, but nothing came. "I thought we had something real," I said, my voice cracking despite my best effort to stay calm. "I trusted you. I gave you everything, and this is what I get in return." She broke down sobbing, reaching out to me, but I backed away. "Please, just let me explain," she begged. "Explain? You've been explaining nothing but lies for weeks." "I don't want your excuses," I replied coldly. My heart ached, but my mind was made up. "I'm done being a fool." The silence that followed was heavy. She looked at me, her face streaked with tears, but I felt no pity. I had spent too many nights wondering what went wrong, and now I had my answer. "Pack your things," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "I want you out by tomorrow." The look on her face was one I'll never forget, pure regret and desperation. But I was past the point of sympathy. She had made her choice, and now she was facing the consequences. As I watched her retreat to the bedroom, still crying, I felt a strange sense of relief. The betrayal hurt, but at least now I knew the truth. There was no more pretending, no more living a lie. That night, as I sat alone on the couch, I realized that sometimes the hardest thing you can do is let go. But in that moment, I knew that letting her go was the only way I could finally be free.